Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an Eggplants Opinion. Here's Jiggy, your host, and I have a new microphone. Oh yes. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, it's really good, really good. I needed to sort out my other microphone for the simple fact that the audio interface just would not work. And literally, for those of you that like the microphone and want to grab it, the Elgato Wave 3, literally, I plugged it in. The computer immediately recognised it, and funny enough, that's not even the best part of the microphone. It's got some software that comes with it called the Wavelink, and you've got 9 channels where you can just alter every part of volume to the mix. So I could do like the game, like browser. It is literally a game changer. It is amazing. I mean, right now I've got the microphone going, and then I can have the Spotify in the background, which will be a bit lower, and then I'll have my browser going. Yeah, it's brilliant. But yeah, anyway, to the actual task at hand, today we're going to be talking about a web comic that I was introduced to by a lovely guy from work. And yeah, it's called Solo Leveling. And I must say, it is such a breath of fresh air to see a comic like this. Such a different idea. It literally reinvigorated my love even more for comics, to the point where I need to start buying some anime, like manga, comics. Oh mate, I couldn't believe how good it was. But so enough waffling. Let's tell you what Solo Leveling is all about. Solo Leveling, known as I Level Up Alone in English, is a Korean novel written by Chu Gong. The project was first introduced to the world in 2014, and by 2018 was reimagined into a webtoon series by artists Hyun Gun and Jang Sung Rak. Yeah, apologies for the bad pronunciation. It follows the story of an E-rank hunter known as Sung Jin Woo, who bites off more than he can chew in a dungeon run. However, things turn for the better as he wakes up in hospital believing to have died, and from that moment on becomes reawakened as a player who, unlike the other hunters, can level up as he goes into more and more dungeons. I absolutely love how unique this is. I mean, could you imagine like just waking up one day and getting that sort of power? Every single milestone that you've achieved during the day, whoop, level up. You've got a new power. It's like, yeah, sweet. It's time to tear shit up. Boo! I feel that one of the best moments in the comics, and yes, this is going to be like a sort of mild spoiler, but one of the best moments for me is when he gets the level up of a necromancer. He just, like the Shadow Monarch, yeah, that's it. He becomes like what they call a Shadow Monarch, so it's like a necromancer, and everything that he defeats, he just goes rise, and he's now got an army. So not only is he leveling up to a point where he can just tear shit up on his own, he's now got an army of the dead, like everyone who's killed him, like who's tried to kill him before, and now they're like, yes, master, here's your tea, master. Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, it reminds me of a game that I used to play vigorously with the other lads, and that was Warframe. I mean, you've got a necromancer on there called Necros, and you could just, I believe it was, I want to say 30, but 15 is drawn to. I think it's obviously to do with a different power level, because obviously you have to rank up the power or put different cards on to power up the Warframe itself. But you could have like 30 like shadows just running around killing things for you, and they're what you've killed before. And it's sort of similar to what happens with Sung Jin Woo in this. It saves the ones that you've killed, and in case one of the other apparitions dies, then you could bring that one back. You could go rise again, and they all come out. Oh mate, we tore shit up on that game. It was absolutely brilliant. So what is the good and the bad about this Solo Leveling? Let's dive in. I'll get the bad out of the way now, and this might be no shock to you whatsoever, but sod it, I am biased about this. But the only bad I can think of, it isn't known as much as it should be. Why? It's crazy how much crap gets recycled and spewed out of Hollywood when you have fantastic works of art like this that don't even get recognised. Which leads me to the good. Everything. Oh, shocker. Love the story. A nobody struggle that leads to one of the best protagonists in a comic I have seen in a very, very long time. The characters are well thought out, and the fights are awesome. It reminds me of times I've spent online literally leveling out characters I've enjoyed to play as. It's unique and creative, and the best news of all, it's going to be adapted as an animated series. Well, at least, that's what the rumours say. I cannot wait for this to be adapted into an animation. I've not seen any release dates, sadly, when I'm on my ventures into the abyss that is the web. But my fingers are crossed for this, man. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. Like I said before, the recycled crap that we get out of Hollywood, and you've got stuff like this just sitting on the shelf going, hi, you know, or on the shelf, you know, the virtual shelf the internet is. And I know the pandemic will probably delay it, even if it is going to get turned into you know, an animation, but take your time. There's no rush. We don't want you coming out when you're not supposed to come out. I'm looking at you, Cyberpunk. So my overall opinion, well, if you didn't guess it by now, I'm a huge fan. The second one of the guys at work told me about it, you know, I gotta be honest, he gave me the links to it, and I put it off for a little bit because I was just busy doing other stuff, and I kick myself every day for it, because the second I clicked onto the first part of it, I finished it within the whole day. It took me hours, you know, a couple of hours to do it, but I was like, next one. I couldn't put it down, and that's why it is such a good comic book. I mean, comics today, I mean, this might become a bit political, but comics today, they try and appease people that don't even understand the comics, you know, what they were made for. I mean, 20 odd years ago, comics were made for people like me, as a kid, you know, and then obviously the demographic has shifted, but I feel like too many agendas are thrown out there in comics nowadays, and in everything. They don't think about the actual narration or source material or anything like that. And I'm not going to go into detail because snowflakes are just going to come at me from miles around. And speaking of no snowflakes, we get this. My case in point. The new Warriors. This comic just literally doesn't scream any agendas or nothing like it. It just goes, you know what? Boom. This is going to be the comic. You read it. You love it. You hate it. Doesn't matter. You read it. It just goes all out, non-stop. And Sung Jin-woo as the protagonist, 10 out of 10. It's not even finished yet. I mean, I got up to, what was it? Did they call it webisodes or whatever? I got up to 138, and I was just speaking to one of the other guys. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, and he said it's now up to 142. So I've got a few to read. So again, once I finish this little video, I'm gonna read that. So guys, what are your thoughts, particularly you manga lovers out there or anime lovers? What are you looking forward to, or what have you heard through the grapevine? Let us know down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to have a look at it. And yeah, as always, if you do not like what I say, it's just an Eggplant's opinion. Take it easy. Bye bye.